7-8 Fight News here with the brother Jokerboxing. What's up, brother?
Hey, man, what's up?
Nothing much, man. We're going to talk a little boxing. Junior welterweight and welterweight division. I guess in the junior welterweight division, we've had, this month we had Danny Garcia versus Eric Morales. I think that was a waste of a fight, in my opinion. But Danny Garcia was victorious, knocking out Eric Morales. I'm hearing rumors now that Danny Garcia is rumored to be trying to fight Zab Judah in early January sometime. I think that's a pretty good fight if that fight does happen. What's your thoughts on that fight?
I got a couple of thoughts, man. All right, here's my thing. This guy Danny Garcia, he has talent, but I'm not sure how good he really is.
Right.
All right. Let's look at it. Let's look at it for a second. Okay. First, he fights Amir Khan, and since then, he's taken a couple of steps back, in my opinion. Now, he just comes off of a win against Eric Morales, who is pretty ancient, and now he's trying to fight Zab Judah, which Zab Judah is more valid than Eric Morales. I'll give him that. But I'm saying, how do you fight Amir Khan and then you go downhill after that? We would much rather see this guy maybe fight Amir Khan again or fight somebody else. But, I feel like him and his team might be trying to hold on to the belt, a little bit longer.
Right. Yeah, I heard something interesting he said. Danny Garcia said something like, they asked him, was he interested in fighting some of the big name guys at 147 or 140, and he said, yeah, if Golden Boy thinks I'm ready. And I'm thinking, like, what do you mean if Golden Boy thinks you're ready? You holding 3 titles at the 140-pound division, and you're talking about if somebody think you're ready. Like, that's the problem with boxing today. These guys is holding belts, and they're still being groomed to be great fighters. Like, give up the title if you're gonna be cherry picking and stuff. Just give up the title. But I think that
they don't have stuff belief in themselves. They don't believe in themselves.
Right. I think Zab Judah is gonna beat him though. I'm gonna ride with Zab. Zab let me down a lot, but I'm still gonna ride with him this time against if that fight does happen, because like you said, I think Danny Garcia does a lot of things well, but he doesn't do anything that stands out that makes you say, damn, this dude is he a good ass fighter. It's just like, he's a good solid fighter. Okay, they caught Amir Khan on the chin. He can punch. I give him that. But I don't see him beating Zab Judah. I don't see him beating Lucas Matisse. And a few other people, man. I think Danny Garcia is a good fighter, but I don't see him beating a Zab Judah or Matisse. In times of old, when there wasn't a million belts in every weight class, he wouldn't be a champion. Okay, I think he'd be I'm not shitting on him. I think he's a solid opponent. I just don't think he is championship material. Even though he beat Amir Khan, he beat an ancient Eric Morales. Okay, I don't believe in him yet. I could be totally wrong. Maybe he'll knock out Lucas Matisse. Maybe he'll knock out Zab Judah. And if he does shit like that, then yes, I'll be a believer in Danny Garcia. But for right now, I believe if he faces Zab Judah, like the rumors say, early next year, I think Zab Judah is going to outbox Danny Garcia. I think that Garcia has looked very impressive against people who come in there to bang with him, and he can punch. So when you come in there bang, that was Amir Khan's mistake. Amir Khan thought that he was so pissed off by the trash talking of Danny Garcia's father that Amir Khan went in there on some revenge shit and didn't fight a smart fight, and he got caught. So
yeah, that's right. So
I think like I said, I think Zab Judah will beat him. I think Lucas Matisse will knock him out. What do you think?
Right. I mean, to me, Danny Garcia is one of those guys where he has the equalizer. You know what I mean? So he's gonna always have a puncher's chance. But here's my thing about Danny Garcia. Let's take a close look at this guy, right? Number one, he was getting outclassed by Amir Khan, before he got the knockout. If you go back and you watch that fight, in the second round, right after the second round, you know, after he had just lost 2 rounds to Amir Khan, this guy was in his corner. He was looking like a deer in headlights, okay? Until Amir Khan got sloppy, you know, he was getting outclassed, and he was on his way to losing an easy unanimous decision, if not getting stopped on cuts, because he was just getting beat up. After that, you know, after he beat a guy, Amir Khan, who has a suspect chin, he knocks out a guy in Eric Morales, you know, who's already old and way past his prime. So what I'm saying is, you know, we haven't even seen him really be able to do this to somebody who, you know, the likes of a Lucas Matisse. And there's so many guys at 140, man. If I just go through the names, you know, we got Brandon Rios. You know, there's Lamont Peterson. You know, there is Amir Khan. You know, I don't know if Marcus Maidana is still at 140. You know, who else? I mean, it's just endless amount of guys who are down there, man.
Yeah, and you guess it's a lot of good fights. You got, I don't know what Marquez is going to do. If he's going to stay at, you know, I guess Marquez, you know, if he beats Pacquiao at 147, he'll probably come back down to 140 since Pacquiao don't have a title for him. Because Marquez is still the WBO champion at 140. And Marquez, you know, I got love for Marquez, but Marquez he's not fighting none of these top 140-pounder guys either. You know, he's you know, he's been playing this Pacquiao game for a while, but you know, when you look at, you got Danny Garcia, Zab Judah, Lamont Peterson, fucking Brandon Rios, Mike Alvarado, you know, Matisse. I mean, Amir Khan. Marquez hasn't fought none of them guys, unless I just been blind. I haven't seen Marquez fight none of these dudes, but yet Marquez is holding the title at 140 pounds, and I think Marquez needs to go back to 140 if he beats Pacquiao or if he loses. If he continues to fight, he needs to fight some of these guys and let the 140-pound division give us the fights in 2013 that we deserve. You know, I think Brandon Rios, his first fight at 140 against Alvarado, you know, it was a good fight, but you know, they talking about putting him in there with Pacquiao. He's tailor-made for Pacquiao. He's flat-footed. He's standing there. It'd be an exciting fight, but you know, it'd be a bloodbath, in my opinion. So I think Rios, I would like to, instead of him fighting Pacquiao, I would like to see Rios face some of the guys. You know, maybe a Lamont Peterson, maybe even a Lucas Matisse. Rios and Matisse will be the shit.
Right. You know, I wouldn't mind seeing Brandon Rios fight Amir Khan. You know, I think that would be you know, an okay fight.
Yeah.
You know, and as far as Marquez goes, you know, I agree with you. You know, Marquez, to me, he kind of sounds like David Haye right now. You know, David Haye is like obsessed with the Klitschko's, and there's other guys for David Haye to fight. You know, that's kind of how Marquez has become. You know, he's obsessed and hell-bent on fighting Pacquiao, and you know, he's continuing to get robbed. You know, we as fans don't want to see that.
Right. Yeah.
You know, there's too much out there for Marquez. You know, there were rumors about him fighting Lamont Peterson. You know, there's just too much guys at 140. And between 147, man, we didn't even get to 147 yet.
Yeah. And let's move there then. You know, 147 pounds. All right, who are the title holders? We got Mayweather holding on to the WBC for now, and before they take it from him and give it to Guerrero, if he beats the winner of Guerrero and Berto is going to get that WBC title, because I don't think Floyd's going to come back in time to save his title. Then you have Paulie Malignaggi holding on to the WBA title, I believe, and Timothy Bradley got the WBO. Devin Alexander, congratulations to him, just beat Randall Bailey for the IBF version of the title. So the welterweight division is stacked too. You know, you got a lot of young guys too, but as far as the big names at welterweight, the title holders, I would like to see these guys start to fight each other. What do you think of Guerrero versus Berto?
Guerrero versus Berto. All right, here's my thoughts. I think it's a good fight. You know, the reasons I think it is a good fight is because Andre Berto's defense is so bad. You know, that's why it's a good fight, because Andre Berto makes for an exciting fight. because you don't know if he's going to get knocked out or if he's going to knock somebody else out. And here's the thing. He's fighting Robert Guerrero, all right? Berto's going to have a huge size advantage. You know, I mean, Berto is a true welterweight.
Yeah.
Here's a guy in Andre Berto who was going to move up to 154 and fight Bundridge. So who knows how big he's walking around at. He's got to be walking around at like 160. You know, he's a big dude. And then you got Guerrero, you know, who's not even really a true welterweight in my opinion. He really should be a junior welterweight. But that being said, you know, Robert Guerrero has, you know, skills to pay the bills. You know, so it's going to make for a good fight, you know. And then when you incorporate the fact that Berto can't really deal with southpaws, as we saw, you know, him versus Ortiz, you know, it's one of those anything can happen type fights. But, you know, I don't know how much faith I have in Andre Berto's defense.
Yeah, I think Berto's defense makes for an exciting fight, but I think Berto's power is the equalizer. And I think his power is going to stop Guerrero. I'm going to make a bold prediction. I think he's going to stop Guerrero. And Guerrero is a good fighter, but I don't think Guerrero thinks he is a lot better than he is. I mean, I don't know why he thinks he deserves a Mayweather fight or a Pacquiao fight. You know, and like, come on, man. You didn't even you jumped past the 140-pound killers to come up and try to get a money fight at 147, and it didn't work out for you. And you still going to end up having to fight these killers at 147. You're not going to get a Pacquiao or Mayweather fight yet. So until you build up your fan base. But I think Berto, you know, depending on how he looks, you know, how he, you know, if he has any rust or anything, you know, how is his mental state and all of that. If he's the Andre Berto that we all know, I think he will stop. He'll stop Guerrero. But that will decide, I think, the WBC title, because I think they're going to strip Floyd for that title and give it to either Berto or Guerrero, whoever the winner is. Now, Paulie Malignaggi is holding on to the WBA title, and he's holding that title hostage. You know, Malignaggi is not going to fight any killers. Malignaggi is waiting on Ricky Hatton to win his fight, and if Ricky Hatton wins his fight, Malignaggi wants a payday against Ricky Hatton. If that fight does happen, Ricky Hatton versus Malignaggi, how do you see that?
You know, I see that fight happening. You know, I'm thinking Ricky Hatton. You know, I just don't have faith in Malignaggi right now. You know, Malignaggi is coming off an arguable loss against Kano. You know, so I'm going with Ricky Hatton depending on how he looks. But I mean, you know, Ricky Hatton's come off of a huge layoff, so who's to say, you know, how he's really going to look in the ring. So that's a toss-up, man. I don't really see either of those guys holding either of those belts long if they step up in competition. You know, that's pretty much how I feel about that. And just going back to Guerrero really quick, you know, I think that, you know, Floyd versus the winner of that fight, I possibly see that happening.
Yeah.
And I think that would be definitely a good fight. And Robert Guerrero, to me, he needs to go down to 140. I agree with you 100%. You know, he hasn't proved himself at 140. You know, you're right. He just totally, basically did what all of these guys try to do when they try to get the line. You know, and I think him and Berto are both overrated, going back to those guys. But, yeah, you know, that's basically my opinion on that situation. What about you?
Well, I think Guerrero, at this point, is a little overrated. I wouldn't say Berto is overrated because most of the people that I talk to about boxing, like casual fans, they don't even know who Berto is. So, to me, I don't think he's overrated. I think that Berto is just he's a fighter that didn't live up to the expectations that people had on him because of his defense, you know. But, you know, he always had these little flash knockdowns and shit like that. So, you know, his chin is suspect and all of that stuff. But I like Andre Berto. I think he'll be all right. Another fight we have in 2013 should be Kell Brook versus Devin Alexander. Now, that should be an interesting fight, you know. A lot of people don't like Devin, you know, because they think he's boring or he holds too much or whatever. They think he quit, you know, against Timothy Bradley. But I like Devin
Right.
Alexander. I think he's a solid fighter. I think he's a very good boxer. And I think that him and Kell Brook, I can't pick a winner in that fight, but I do think it'll be a very exciting fight. And I'm waiting to see that. What you think of that fight?
I agree. I think it's going to be a really good fight. I think Devin Alexander, I think there's a lot of reason that people didn't like him at first because he might have been a little bit overrated. But now you can really see where his talent is, and he's a pretty good fighter. And his win over Marcus Maidana, in my opinion, just earned me a lot of respect for him. The way he pulled off that fight. And this guy, Kell Brook, I'm wondering what's going on in his head because he's a guy who didn't want to fight Timothy Bradley. He didn't want to fight Timothy Bradley, who has a way bigger name than him. So he looks like he's taking it easier past the title. And now he's going to fight Alexander. And I'm not sure what to really think of Kell Brook. He's not that fast. He's got a little bit of power. But how is he going to do against a guy who's probably faster than him? And I feel like could possibly just outpoint him just based on speed. So, I'm not really sure about this Kell Brook. I think he could possibly beat Amir Khan because Amir Khan's chin.
Yeah.
He's an interesting guy, this Kell Brook, and I'd like to see him fight Amir Khan. But I'm not sure if he beats the Devin Alexanders or the Timothy Bradleys of the world.
Yeah, me neither. Kell Brook still has to prove himself. He hasn't been fighting the best competition as of late. Right now, he's still, being groomed. But I think next year you'll see what Kell Brook is made of when he steps in there with some top guys. We'll be able to better judge him. But speaking of Timothy Bradley, for whatever reason, I heard he turned down the fight with Guerrero. I think that's a mistake on Bradley's part. I think he should have took the Guerrero fight because, I understand Timothy Bradley is probably thinking, hey, I just beat Pacquiao. I'm an undefeated fighter. I deserve some shine. Everybody hates me all of a sudden. I want to fight Floyd Mayweather. I want the big paydays. But the thing is, Tim, people still, even though you fought Pacquiao and you won, people still have this thing that you got a gift decision. So you're going to have to beat these guys. Timothy Bradley messed up. I think he should have fought Guerrero, and Timothy Bradley could have been one of those fighters to clean out the welterweight division. I think he could have done it. I think he could have forced himself into a big payday with Floyd Mayweather had he beaten Guerrero, then tried to unify the titles at 147 pounds. I think that in doing that, unifying the titles, fighting a couple of the young guns, anybody who come through 147 got to come see him. All right, he would have put himself in perfect position for that big payday. But I think he's a little ahead of himself in ducking people.
Right. I agree, man. Timothy Bradley is a guy who, to me, should have cleaned out 140. When Amir Khan and him were the best at 140, he didn't want to fight Amir Khan. And I lost a lot of respect for Timothy Bradley when he did that, okay? And I think his issue has been, like most of these guys, like you said, chasing the payday. And he's kind of lost himself. He's sitting here, he fights Manny Pacquiao, but the thing is, Timothy Bradley's name may have gotten a little bit bigger, but where are his fans? He doesn't really have a fan base. He hasn't taken the time to build a fan base by fighting some of these guys, fighting the Guerreros, maybe fighting the Andre Berto. He hasn't taken the time to really help out and really build his fan base.
Right.
So he may be able to land a money fight if he gets lucky, but what happens when he goes back to having to fight the normal guys? He's back to square one. So once again, he just made a bad business decision, and these guys don't understand that sometimes, in order to get the money, you actually have to work for it. They all want it easy.
That's right. Yeah, I think Bradley, his personality, his style of fighting is not going to render or generate these huge sums of Pacquiao Mayweather money. And I think that he thinks he's going to get that. And it's not going to happen. He might as well go ahead and I'm telling you, I had a lot of hopes for Bradley. I really thought that Bradley was going to be that guy to just dominate a weight division. And I thought he would dominate the 147-pound division. But with his latest choice of not fighting Guerrero, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. He still has time, I guess. Maybe he'll fight the winner of Guerrero Berto. We don't know. But you got any last words, brother?
I just think, like we said, man, these divisions are stacked. I like what I see at the 140-pound division. I just think we need to continue to get the best of the best, fighting each other. We do have some good fights, coming up at the end of the year. In 2013, man, hopefully we can get some of these fights, happening, some of the best fights, Absolutely.
I agree, man. Hopefully, before you get off, man, what do you got in the Pacquiao Marquez? Who you got in that fight?
Oh, man, I really got to talk about this fight. Pacquiao Marquez, man. Wow. I mean, what else is there to say, man? What's happened the last 3 times?
Yeah.
Marquez has been robbed 3 times. Maybe Pacquiao finally really, just beats the crap out of Marquez. I'm really not interested in this fight because whatever happens, it doesn't really change the outcomes of the other fight.
Right.
I'm not one of those guys who I believe that you just erase the history of past fights because you win the rematch type deal. History is history. So, I really don't care. To be honest, maybe, Pacquiao should knock out Marquez so Marquez, could realize, there's other guys out there for you to fight, leave Pacquiao alone. I don't really care, man.
Y'all go check out the brother Jokerboxing. We got some more shit for you, man. This is just the first video of many. 78 Fight News. Holla.